Greetings all, it's Max, and we're back, and we're doing an off-the-cuff Christian movie review that is on Netflix right now. It was on my suggested playlist. It is called A Matter of Faith. It came out in 2014. And oddly enough, I looked it up on IMDb and it has a 3.6. 3.6. That means that it's probably one of the most terrible movies that anyone could ever watch. Max doesn't think so. Now, there are some issues with this movie, but they aren't related to the story or the dialogue or what it's about. Okay, this is a story about creation evolution, more or less. Family whose daughter goes off to college and she's studying biology, and the biology teacher is a hardcore evolutionist, and she is enamored with the guy and the points that he makes, and she's kind of starting to drift away from her faith, and her parents see this, and her father actually confronts the professor, and the professor says, "If you think I'm wrong, why don't you debate me?" Because he needs to come up with the debate for whatever kind of news thing that they have. They have to do debates on a monthly basis as part of their thing. So this freshman daughter in college is upset that her dad is taking part in this because it's embarrassing for her. She wants to fit in, and she's mad about it. Now, the setup for the story is dumb, because of course schools are going to teach evolution. Now, in college they can do whatever they want to. I was lucky enough that when I went to high school they had to teach creation, and they still do have to, honestly. It's their choice if they do or not, but you can't make it specifically a Christian creation or a Muslim creation or whatever, but you have to teach evolution, and then you teach creationism as two different points. And of course, even back when I was in school, of course the teachers would be like, "Oh yeah, raise your hand if you believe that God created everything, and raise your hand if you believe that everything came from nothing." So they make people look stupid back then. You know, I believe God created it. You know, I mean, they call people out. They're really pushing evolution, like, huge. But they still had to teach creationism. May not be that way in every state. It is that way in Minnesota. At least in my Stillwater school district, they did have to teach that, so I was lucky. But in college, they don't have to teach that. They don't have to do it. They can do whatever they want to. So that setup is dumb, but I'll forgive it. I'll forgive the setup on this one, because they have to have a story. Like I said, IMDb gives this a 3.6. Why would people not enjoy this movie? Probably because it's boring and slow, and there isn't a whole lot going on. Why did I enjoy this movie? Because creation evolution is where I got my start. That's what I am most familiar with. This is why I started my channel, was creation evolution. And I can understand the points that they're making when they do their debate. The last third of this movie is very good. What would kill it for a lot of people is the direction was very poor. Okay, the way the camera angles are done is bad. The dialogue wasn't bad. The way that the cameras the way scenes are shot was bad. But you also have to understand that this is not a big budget Hollywood movie. You know, maybe a couple of $1 million they had to make this, if that. Unfortunately, the numbers.com does not actually give you what the budget was for a lot of movies now, but I would bet it was just in a couple of $1 million, maybe. not hundreds of millions of dollars. So you have to take that into account. You probably have volunteers doing it. The only actor that's in here is Harvey, is it Harvey Anderson? Harold Anderson? Harry Anderson. Harry Anderson's the judge from Night Court. He is the only recognizable actor. The other person, Jordan Trevilion, is the main character. She's the daughter who's going to college. And she was in like Jack Reacher and some other stuff like that. So she's a bigger name, but back when this came out in 2014, you know, on her IMDb, that's what it comes up as. She's known for this movie. Not going to spoil anything, but I enjoyed this movie. You know, it's a little bit of a slog. I wouldn't even say a slog. I was entertained by the whole thing. It just, I knew that the cinematography and direction was bad. The lines weren't bad. The story wasn't bad. And they had to cut things a little bit short with the debate, where they didn't have any question and answer when they were supposed to. That kind of bugged me. But a 3.6 out of 10? No way. No way. I would give this an easy 6.5, which is, you know, but they cram God down your throat at every chance they get. Every single chance they get, they're cramming God down your throat, to where they even put the gospel in there, man. Can you believe that? A movie that's got the gospel in there? So for that, it's going to be an 8 out of 10. Okay? And the last couple of minutes of the movie really touched my heart. I really liked it. It's fairly predictable, but they put the gospel in there, as well as cram God down your throat the entire way through. Some people may not enjoy it. If it's boring to you, fast forward till you get to the debate part and watch that, the last 20 minutes or something like that. It's worthwhile to see. And it's free if you got Netflix. Not a big deal. It's good stuff. I liked it. You know, an 8 out of 10 is kind of reaching. A realistic score for me is going to be 7. But it's the first show that I've seen that actually explains the gospel and goes through the gospel. It's the first one. And for that alone, you're going to get a couple of extra marks from me, just for even putting it in there. With that, again, it's called A Matter of Faith. Came out in 2014 on Netflix now. With that, we're going to be out of here.